Who draws the line between forgery and feeling inspired? Who defines derivative versus being admired? Who decides what original means? Who aspires and who's the wannabes? Upon the shoulders of giants, I've got a long way to go. Oh, I never get here on my own. See the view from the top. If everything's a remix of everything that has been, then let me just go back to my laptop, take a pen on track, that it goes down. Maybe you'll hear Skrillex, some Netica, and some Imogen. Talk radical, but I'm trying to get back.
Hey, what's up, guys? Alright, and so, as you see on the screen, we have the High Priestess card, right? Let me start off by saying my last post was not towards any one or any type of religion. It was just a post to get out there. I don't have a problem with Christianity, or Muslim, or Buddhism, or paganism, or any of that. Matter of fact, anybody that knows me and knows my history knows that I spent quite a lot of time in Christianity, quite a lot of time in Judaism, studying Torah code searching and Kabbalah and the Bible. And through all that, which is what led me to doing this post, right? Amongst the many negative comments I got about, oh, you're a Christian hater. I'm really not. I know a lot about Christianity, which is why I wanted to do this video. Because you see the High Priestess, right? Now, you know I am now a pagan, right? I'm into sorcery. And we can thank King Solomon for that. Because when I was in Christianity and went into Judaism, again, if you read my blog page, the About Me, I took a really keen liking to King Solomon. I was interested in King Solomon, just, who he was, what he did, how he maintained himself, the lifestyle that he lived. He fascinated me. I've always been fascinated by the supernatural, which is why I'm a paranormal investigator, right? I've always been into that kind of thing, the unknown. My mom says it's because I have no fear. And that might be, but things that we're not sure of intrigue me, I'm sure, as they do you as well, right? And so let's look at this High Priestess card, because this is one of my most favorite cards out of the whole tarot deck. As you notice, you got the woman, right? And when you look at the tarot deck, it's a lot of symbolism, right? As is most of things in life. Everything, to be exact. TVs, car makers. Sorry about that, guys. That's my ringtone. Nice ringtone, huh? Yeah, I'm a juggalo. I love the ICP. ICP rocks. Clown love, baby. Anyway, getting back to King Solomon, when you understand certain car dealers, or symbolism means certain things, like symbolism is just a big thing in the world today, right? And as you see, I have my trusty little tarot deck here. When I do tarots, I don't just do a simple one card deck tarot, right? This is my tarot bag. I do 3 decks. What it is 2 regular tarot decks and an oracle deck. I get detailed with my readings. And into doing these readings, understanding the symbolism in the cards that come in sequence and what they mean, how they may pertain to your life at this time, right? This is all part of doing tarot and understanding, what your spirit guides or what the cards are trying to tell you. So taking a liking to King Solomon and getting the backlash from my last video, let's look into the tarot card, the High Priestess, right? The B and the J. Now you see they're pillars. They're found on the tarot card specifically within the Rider-Waite Smith deck. That's like one of the first decks ever made. The High Priestess cards holds deep symbolic meaning rooted in ancient tradition. Understanding their significance requires exploring the historical context and their integration into the esoteric symbolism of tarot. But first, let's take a quick look into who these figures are, Boaz and Jacob. Or not Jacob, Jachin, right? B and J. So when we look at the pillars of, and they're the pillars of Solomon's temple. That's another thing, right? Like that they symbolize the pillars of King Solomon's temple, the first temple that was built. They were, walking in the door. You had these two big pillars. One was Boaz, one was Jacob. The B and the J represent the pillars of Boaz and Jachin, not Jacob, respectively. These were the two prominent pillars that stood at the entrance of King Solomon's temple in Jerusalem, as described in the Hebrew Bible. Boaz, often associated with the letter B, is generally interpreted to men, meaning in his strength. Boaz is a significant figure in the Hebrew Bible, primarily known from the book of Ruth. He was, one, a wealthy landowner in Bethlehem in Judah. He was a relative of Elimelech, the descendant husband of Naomi. He married Ruth. They had a son named Obed, who was the grandfather of King David. Therefore, Boaz is an ancestor to Yeshua ben Nun, who, when you understand the New Testament and the Tanakh, how it was put together and all, they couldn't transliterate Yeshua ben Nun, which is Yeshua, son of Nun. So they gave him Jesus. Now, there's a whole bunch of other stories that go along with that, how Constantine made him, but we're not going to get into all that, right? We're just going to say Yeshua instead of Jesus. So, as recorded in the genealogies of the New Testament, beyond his literal role, Boaz is often seen as a symbol of redemption, kindness, and faithfulness. Boaz is a significant figure in the Hebrew Bible, primarily known for the book of Ruth. Let's take a look at a breakdown of who he was. In essence, Boaz is a respected and honorable figure in the Tanakh, known for his kindness and his role in the lineage of King David and Yeshua. Now let's look at Jachin, okay? He's associated with the letter J over on the right side. He'd be the right pillar. He's usually interpreted to mean the will of establish. So now you got one pillar that is in his strength, and the other pillar, which is he will establish. Okay. Jachin was the fourth son of Simon, according to Genesis 46:10, Exodus 6:15, and Numbers 26:12. One of the 70 souls to migrate to Egypt with Jacob. The Romanesque Church of Santa Maria at Tuscany, Italy, has a recessed entrance flanked by a pair of freestanding stone columns intended to invoke Boaz and Jachin. Similar pillars intended to represent Boaz and Jachin also exist in Wurzburg Cathedral in Germany and Dolby Church in Sweden. Columns representing Boaz and Jachin can be found in most Masonic lodges, right? And an emblematic of their use in Masonic rituals. The pillars are part of a symbolic use of Solomon's temple itself. So see, even King Solomon used it as symbolism, right? It symbolized something. And so these pillars are not merely architectural features. They symbolize duality, balance, and the threshold between the outer and inner worlds. Now, when doing tarot and you understand this, you can get into a deep meaning, and like really find some. Like I said, you can get really intricate with the tarot cards. In esoteric meaning, the esoteric traditions, particularly those influenced by, as I mentioned earlier, Kabbalah and Freemasonry, Boaz and Jachin take on deeper symbolic meanings. Now, just like I said, you can get really intricate with this stuff, right? In essence, they represent opposing forces that must be balanced. That's why you see one is black and one is white, right? Because one is darkness, one is light, one is male, one is female, one is mercy, one is severity, right? One is the conscience and one is the subconscious. And anybody that does Kabbalah or is into Freemason, you guys all know this, right? It's like standard for you guys. But I just found this intriguing. Like, this is really cool because I do these cards all the time. And, until I researched a little more with King Solomon and Freemasonry and the whole occult knowledge thing, I just come across this and I found this interesting. I thought maybe you would want to know as well. And so understanding these pillars, Boaz and Jachin, and, the duality of them, dark and light, male, female, mercy and severity, conscience and subconscious. The high priestess position between these pillars symbolizes the ability to navigate and harmonize these opposing forces. She represents intuition, hidden knowledge, and the gateway to the subconscious. So now you see how they all interconnect. You have the dark and light, right? The subconscious and the conscious. And she meaning intuition, hidden knowledge, and the gateway to the subconscious. So she's literally in the middle. She's the gateway, right? The pillars are represented to the concept of a threshold, a passage from the material world to the spiritual realm. The high priestess guards this threshold, revealing secrets only to those who are worthy. Now, in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, designed by Arthur Edward Waite and illustrated by Pamela Coleman Smith, is one of the most influential tarot decks in modern times. Waite, who was a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, incorporated many esoteric symbols into the deck, including the pillars of Boaz and Jachin. By placing these pillars on the High Priestess card, Waite emphasized the card's connection to the hidden knowledge, the duality, and the spiritual realm. By placing these pillars on the Priestess card, I read that. It is important to note that the Golden Dawn, which I'm pretty sure everybody is familiar with the Golden Dawn and who they are, right? Just like you are Freemasonry and all that. If not, well, do some research because they're misunderstood. What a major influence in the popularization of these specific symbologies within tarot mean. The meaning of the tarot readings. In a tarot reading, a High Priestess card with its prominent pillars signifies intuition and inner wisdom, hidden knowledge and secrets, the duality and balance, the subconscious mind, the need to trust one's own instinct. The presence of the B and the J reference the idea of needing to balance opposing forces in one's life, or that there are hidden factors that are currently at play. So, in the historical context and the evolution of the tarot deck, the tarot's origins are somewhat shrouded in mystery. It goes back a very long time. But it is believed to have originated in Europe in the 15th century. Earlier tarot decks did not necessarily feature the same level of esoteric symbolism as the Rider-Waite deck, or the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. The incorporation of symbols like Boaz and Jachin reflect the influence of later esoteric movements, particularly in the 18th and 19th centuries. Freemasonry, with its emphasis on symbolism and ritual, played a significant role in popularizing the symbolism of Solomon's Temple. These influences eventually found their way into the tarot, particularly through the work of the Waite deck and other esoterics. Some of them don't have it in there. The B and the J on the High Priestess card are not arbitrary additions. They are powerful symbols that connect the tarot to the ancient traditions and esoteric philosophies. They represent the duality of existence, the threshold between the known and the unknown, and the importance of intuition and inner wisdom. You guys hear me talk all the time about doing your shadow work, or getting more in depth with yourself, finding out who you are, um, changing who you are, like transformation. I went through a transformation, and let me tell you, it was the best thing I ever did. That old guy, he was, yeah, dickhead. The new me, the transformation, the things I have learned, the step in higher conscience. Let me tell you, I'm doing things I never thought I'd do, right? So, as we talk about the tarot cards, the tarot decks, the symbolisms, the meanings, astrology, geometry, biology, like all these, because they're all interconnected, as I tell you all the time. Reading these cards can actually help you to improve to a higher conscience. Just doing it, like I started out doing it every morning for like 3 months, right? And I'm not kidding you. When I went through my transformation, I would sit and consult the deck. And I'm telling you, this deck was giving me so many answers. Like it was on point. What it would tell me in the morning would most likely be what came to be throughout the day. Like I would notice these things as what the tarot deck was telling me. I haven't put the tarot deck down yet. I actually love my tarot deck. I gotta get some new cards because one can never have enough cards. And when you get into doing tarot, you get into the esoteric knowledge and start practicing the occult knowledge, witchcraft, right? You can use gems, and you can use sigils, and you can put all this together, right? Well, why am I telling you this? Well, there's a reason why I'm telling you this. Because part of my daily activities, part of the things I do, not just with the mathematics, which is the astrology and the medicine and all that, but when you incorporate these things into your everyday daily life and you start to realize that you hold the keys, you are the power, right? You are just a small part of the you universe, which lives inside you. So using things from the earth and using cards that symbolize these meanings, you can pretty much have a great day. You see what I'm saying? With higher consciousness, knowing that you weren't duped into the everyday life struggles and hassles that are going on out there. Why? Because you're not worried about what's going on out there. Why? Because you are working on yourself, right? That's all part of shadow work and analyzing the inner you, coming to a higher conscience, and reading these cards, just as I'm sure King Solomon did. Maybe not these cards, but you know, being the sorcerer, the great and knowledgeable sorcerer that he was, I'm sure he practiced the tarot cards, and I'm pretty sure he did stonemancy. He made talismans, right? That literally helped to heal people. You can do it today if you know what you're doing. If you're in that zone, that higher conscience, if you're practicing the practice. And so this was just the high priestess card. Women, I feel like women aren't given enough appreciation, right? Because back in the day, women were seen not just symbolically, but it were they meant something. Not like today, you women should take pride in that, just like us men. We should take pride in being a man. Like so much has gotten lost in the freaking 40 years that I've been awake on this rock. But again, understanding these, understanding the esoteric meanings and how they incorporate into your life, finding out who you are, is a wonderful thing. It's not something you should run from. And that's kind of why I get a little upset with Christianity and some of these other religions out there because it kind of steer you away from doing this stuff. When really in your own Bible, some of your people were doing it. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of hypocritical. And that's kind of what upsets me. It doesn't mean I don't like them or that I'm against them. And just because I say silly little Christians doesn't mean I mean like I don't like you. Everybody's got their own opinion. Everybody's who they are. And that is awesome. I have no problem with that. But find out who you really are. Don't just go with the everyday life being complacent because, you know, man has told you that there's some guy in the sky. Find out the truth for yourself. A lot of, another thing that upsets me is a lot of people kind of use their deity as a way out, like a scapegoat. Like, oh, I went to church and prayed. Now I feel better. I can go another week before I sin. See what I'm saying? Like that kind of stuff just upsets me. Like being a sorcerer and working with the deities that I work with and understanding the basics and the foundations of magic, you know, it's an honor. That's why they had temples to these deities because it was an honor. It was a right. And so I hope you got something out of this. Like I said, it was just a little thing I ran across that I thought maybe you guys would be interested in knowing. I liked it because it had to do with King Solomon. Again, big King Solomon fan. Love him. So, you know, this is my rant. This is my video. I hope you liked it. I'll see you on the next video. It'll be probably about how to raise to a higher consciousness, things you can do in your everyday life, like incorporating certain stones and doing tarots and meditating and even prayer and you know the bowl, the frequencies and stuff. Like I said, it's all got to do with hermetics and biology, sacred geometry and symbolism. Like it's all in one. When you can incorporate these things and understand them, life is so much more intriguing. I will see you on the next video.